Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, February 13th, and I'm Krista McDonald. This week on Norwood News, we get a tease on the next episode of NCM Sports Talk. NCM is hard at work behind the scenes, and Impact Norwood shares positivity once again. All this and more coming up on this week's Norwood News. Over the past 2 weeks, Town Manager Tony Mazzucco, Chief Chris Padden, and Chief Tim Bailey have met with both the Board of Selectmen and Finance Commission to discuss public safety staffing needs. Mazzucco, Padden, and Bailey discussed current staffing levels, call volume, the increasing complexity of calls, the town's density, and other factors affecting their department's staffing. Compared with national staffing standards, neither department meets the standard. Mazzucco proposes an operational override to fund a permanent increase in public safety staffing to meet Norwood's public safety needs.
Hey folks, General Manager Tony Mazzucco coming to you and encouraging you to check out our police and fire web pages for information on a public safety staffing study that we did and our public safety staffing needs. Approved at town meeting a few years ago, we looked at police and fire staffing, doing an internal study for police and an external study for fire staffing to see if our staffing level currently meets the community's needs. What we're finding is that by and large it doesn't. Now, Norwood's population hasn't changed much in the last 20 years, but the call count for both police and fire is up quite a bit. 25 years ago, the fire department did about 2,500 ambulance runs. 5 years ago, they did about 3,500 ambulance runs. Today, the fire department's doing about 5,500 ambulance runs. Police calls in the last 10 years have doubled. Fire calls are up 30 to 40%. So we're seeing a huge increase in volume for police and fire calls. Other communities in the area are seeing it as well and looking at their public safety staffing. So stay tuned as there'll be more public information sessions about the public safety staffing study that we did and the need to enhance our public safety staffing in Norwood.
To watch the presentation in its entirety, along with discussion, check out the January 20th Board of Selectmen workshop or the January 28th Finance Commission meeting. Back in November, Impact Norwood spread positivity throughout the community during the Health and Wellness Fair at Norwood High School.
At this year's Wellness Fair at Norwood High School, we put up a camera with NCM with a sign attached to it, asking people to share one small change or habit that they've done that made their life feel better. And it was really neat seeing the responses. We had all walks of life, from 3-year-olds up to senior citizens, kind of sharing really kind of deeply thought out things that they've done in their lives that made their lives easier in some way, whether it's through mental health or it's through physical exercise, whatever that might be. And it was a pretty powerful video, so I hope you enjoy.
One small habit change or moment that made my life feel better is I started saying no to things and making time for myself a priority.
Probably making people laugh, even when I didn't feel the best.
Hanging out with the lunch bunch and listening to ICP.
Well, I tell you, recently I've been getting up much earlier in the morning, having my cup of coffee to kind of de-stress myself, but then jumping on what I call a ski machine just to get ready for the ski season, which I try to do as much as I can. And it really gives me that ability to feel great about myself in the morning when I start my day, and then prepare myself for what is one of my favorite athletic things that I can do. So,
stretching.
Meditating.
My one small change is I actually got outside yesterday in the afternoon and felt 100% better, even though it was kind of coolish outside. So it was my first walk in nature in the fall and early winter time.
Listening to my favorite folk artist, Gordon Lightfoot.
One thing that I try to do if I've had a really challenging day is to make sure I get outside and walk around either on a trail or just around my neighborhood. And then if things get really bad, it's always fun to just be a total goof with my 7-year-old. There's no way that you can have a bad day when you're playing with a kid.
So when I'm feeling down, when I've gone through tough moments in my life, one thing that's definitely kind of turned things around for me is, the one thing that's always been good for me is running. I like spending time in nature, so I try to get on the trails in Norwood, try to spend some time out in the woods. The other thing that, no matter how bad things are going for me, that really turns my life around is just spending time with my children, playing with them in the backyard, making forts in the house. They always have the ability to remind me what's important in life and kind of put me back on the right track.
One of the things recently that makes me feel better is trying to clear a lot of the clutter out of my life. Going through clothes and all the stuff that I have, and my goal is just to get rid of and donate some stuff, once a week, and that just makes me feel better to donate, but also to get rid of some of the stuff that I just have been hoarding.
One small habit that changed my life for the better is waking up early on weekends, because it kind of makes me feel more productive to do the things that I enjoy doing and get ahead for the week.
Hi, so one small habit I think that I've done in my life that helped change how I feel during my day-to-day life is just in the morning, just waking up and taking 5 minutes of just being in the present and just sitting in bed and just breathing in instead of just going straight onto our phones, because I think life is so busy that we just need that 5-minute break in that morning. So yeah.
Hi, I go to therapy. It's really helpful. I recommend it for everybody. Thank you.
One small habit that I think has made my life feel a little bit better every morning is making my bed. It makes me feel more productive, and it sets my mood to do things moving forward in the day that actually are productive instead of just sitting around doing nothing.
I play soccer, baseball, basketball, and I play catch with my dad.
One small moment that changed my life is when I started doing cheer.
One small habit that I do is make my bed.
One small habit that I do is shower in the morning.
One small habit or change that is now important in my life is making sure that I go after things that make me feel happy. And as long as I do that, things change for the better.
Well, this week I participated with a lot of other good people in Norwood in putting together food packages for people, because of the issues with SNAP and whatever, and just all different types of people. You town manager, you had the police chief there, you had different kinds of citizens, and I had the time, and I just felt good, helping people out, and it was just the right thing to do.
Getting candy.
How about anything in life that makes you feel better?
Because I get to see animals.
And I'd say that something that's made me feel better is being able to go running outside, not listening to music. That makes me feel good.
Mine is living in my heart with Mama. And my favorite thing to eat is junk.
Something that changed my year of school is mostly saying I can do it, because whenever I have trouble doing my work, I say I can do this, and then I finish it and I do a good job.
Something that's made me feel better recently, not coincidentally maybe, my daughter Liz had a baby 2 weeks ago. Enzo Flynn Maggio, and holding him and watching my 3 other grandkids is just fulfilling. It's exciting, and it helps me create some wellness up in my head. So.
Last week, via social media, Representative John Rogers announced that House Bill H5047, an act authorizing the division of capital asset management and maintenance to take by eminent domain certain land in the town of Norwood, has been scheduled for a public hearing with the Joint Committee on State Administration and Regulatory Oversight. This would be the next step in the state taking control of Norwood Hospital via eminent domain. Town Manager Tony Mazzucco also took to social media earlier this week, releasing the following statement. Dear residents, I am writing to respectfully urge your attendance at the State House hearing this Thursday regarding Representative John Rogers' bill related to eminent domain authority and the Norwood Hospital property. While the bill itself may or may not ultimately advance, this hearing comes at a particularly important moment. Active negotiations are currently underway with a major healthcare provider concerning the future of the Norwood Hospital site. Even where legislation may face uncertain prospects, engagement and visibility matter and can be influential in parallel discussions and negotiations. Your presence, whether through attendance or written testimony, will be meaningful at this stage. Packing the room sends the right message at the right time. Please feel free to contact me directly with any questions. Later in the show, we visit Furlongs for some Valentine's Day treats. We take a look at what's happening in school news, and Ron Marshalsea has the latest in sports.
I'm Bob Donnelly from the Norwood Concert Committee, talking about our February 15th, Sunday, February 15th, our closing concert of the year for the Winter Concert Series from the Norwood Concert Committee. We're going to feature the Bare Bones Big Band. The Bare Bones Big Band is a 9-piece ensemble that plays classic big band music from the 30s through today. The Bare Bones Big Band is a swing and jazz band that performs expertly crafted transcriptions of classic big band music from the 30s to today. So Big Band, Bare Bones Big Band is a new band to us. We had them at our concert series over the summer, featuring a lot of musicians from the Westwood Swing Band. Excellent 9-piece ensemble, vocals and big band, big sound. Come see this band close out our winter concert series on February the 15th.
The newest episode of NCM Sports Talk has officially aired and is available on demand. Here's a sneak peek at the February 2026 edition of NCM Sports Talk, featuring 3 NHS alumni all making a name for themselves at the collegiate level.
As a freshman, it's never easy to kind of make a varsity squad, but you were able to. Take us back to, I guess, would be what, 2016? So we're almost 10 years now.
It's a while.
Yeah, exactly. When you saw your name on Coach Allen's list in terms of having made varsity hockey, what was kind of going through your mind when you first saw that?
I was ecstatic. It's obviously a huge jump going from bantams to high school. You know, you're playing against 18-year-olds.
Yeah,
so it's,
yeah.
But we had like a really good senior class and junior class that kind of, helped me out, like when we were doing, drills, just like getting prepared for the season. So I honestly owe credits to them through captain's practices and all that. And then when I found the news, I was so happy.
Yeah. What was it like when you saw that list of the varsity players and there's Miles Kidd's name?
Yeah, it was an incredible feeling. Yeah, definitely. That was something that summer and honestly for years before that I was working towards as kind of a long-term goal to make it right away. I thought it would be awesome, something I really worked forward to, and it was an unbelievable feeling hearing that the Monday after our first couple of scrimmages that I officially made it. So it was definitely an unbelievable feeling.
What I can see from UMass Amherst this year is just there's this like magic about your program right now. And for those of us that have played and coached and you kind of know it when you see it, and it's hard to describe how well you guys are doing and how much you seem to be gelling. Give us a little of like what that magic might be.
Yeah, I think it started in the summer. Like immediately when all the girls got on campus, a lot of buy-in was brought. Like when we had our first meeting and stuff like that, he kind of laid everything out, and like the buy-in was immediately from there. And I feel like once everyone got on board with like what we wanted to do this year and like what our goals were, and we've had so many team meetings about our process goals and stuff like that, and everyone truly believes in like what we're doing. So I feel like that just helps the team gel way more.
Norwood's annual town election will be on Monday, April 6th. Brian Boudreau has important information and dates from the town clerk's office that you should know ahead of the election.
The annual town election will be held on Monday, April 6, 2026. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Nomination papers are available for pickup in the town clerk's office. Nomination papers must be returned to the town clerk's office on or before Tuesday, February 17, 2026 at 5 p.m. Incumbent town meeting members have been mailed letters with a response form attached. Completed forms are due no later than Tuesday, February 17, 2026 at 5 p.m. The deadline to register to vote for the annual town election is Friday, March 27, 2026 at 5 p.m. This is the last day to register in order to vote in the election. Voter registration is available at the town clerk's office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or online at www.sec.state.ma.us. Applications for absentee voting or vote by mail are available on the Town of Norwood website under the Town Clerk section. Applications must be received in order for a ballot to be mailed. The deadline to apply for a vote by mail or absentee ballot to be mailed is Monday, March 30th, 2026. No applications will be accepted after that date. The deadline for in-person absentee voting is Friday, April 3rd, 2026 at 12 noon. For additional information, please contact the Town Clerk's office or visit the Town of Norwood website.
Over the past few months, Norwood Community Media has been hard at work behind the scenes, filming events and live sports coverage, producing local stories, covering town meetings, and spotlighting the people who make Norwood special. Here's a look at what we've been up to behind the scenes. Now we're going to send it over to Bridget Kidd for the latest in school news.
I'm Bridget Kidd, and let's check out what's happening in our Norwood schools. In Norwood High School news, seniors Regan Pritchard and Riley Barnett, students in the NHS Engineering and Robotics program, hosted an opportunity for members of the Norwood Brownies troop to earn their Robotics Merit Badge this past Sunday at the First Congressional Church in Norwood. When Lynn Ruzzi of the Girl Scouts reached out and asked if I had two girls in mind to lead this event, Regan and Riley immediately came to mind. They are both excellent examples of NHS student athletes, said their teacher, Dr. Crowley of Norwood High School. Regan and Riley have been in the NHS Engineering and Robotics program for 4 years, and they both plan to study engineering in college. A special thank you to Lynn Ruzzi of the Norwood Brownies for reaching out with this opportunity. And congratulations to the students of the month, Grace Connell and Myra Ferreira Rocha. Forget the evening news. The real weather experts are taking over the airwaves at the Coakley Middle School. Over the past few weeks, 5th graders took what they learned in science class about weather patterns and the water cycle to create a video podcast episode that they filmed in the CMS TV studio. These kids didn't just write the script, but they came up with sound effects, background images, and even logos for their podcast. Students transformed into podcast hosts, switchers, sound mixers, and even cameramen. It was a great way to incorporate writing, public speaking, digital production, and teamwork into their science curriculum. Let's take a quick look.
What is the weather like in each season, Kaylee? Well, in the winter, it is cold and snowy. In the spring, it is warm and rainy. In the summer, it is very hot. And in the fall, it is cool and breezy.
Today we have two callers, Xander and Adriana.
Ooh, I'm so excited to hear what they have to say.
Speaking of Xander, he's calling right now.
Hi, it's Xander. I was wondering, what are all the stages of the water cycle?
Wow, great question. Let's hear the answer.
The stages of the water cycle are evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. After that, the water on the ground evaporates and the cycle starts again.
Over 2/3 of the Cleveland School's 3rd and 4th grade participated in the 6th annual Books and Beyond literacy program. Students posted, wrote reviews, read, and talked about books. This year's Readers Award went to Haven, A Small Cat's Big Adventure. Also at the Cleveland, the Prismatic Magic Laser program celebrated Black History Month with an entertaining combination of music, laser animation, and biographies. This week, Balch 3rd graders took part in playful learning activities that related to multiplication. By using different materials such as Play-Doh, Legos, and tiles, the students displayed their knowledge. The students were engaged and enthusiastic while presenting their knowledge of multiplications and the distributive property. And the Balch 3rd and 4th graders attended an assembly led by meteorologist Danielle Noyes from 1 Degree Outside. They learned about the water cycle, weather patterns, hurricanes, tornadoes, and much more. The students even learned how to create their own tornadoes. Thank you to the PTO for sponsoring such a fun and informative event. Oldham recently gathered for a school-wide empathy assembly and ST math celebration, highlighting both character growth and academic achievement. The students have been learning important empathy skills such as understanding others' perspectives, showing compassion, and standing up for one another. During the assembly, each class proudly honored a student who demonstrated these qualities in meaningful ways, reminding everyone how powerful small acts of kindness can be. They reflected on how they have grown in showing empathy throughout the school year, celebrating the positive culture they are building together. They also recognized students in ST Math who have consistently met or exceeded their puzzle goals, celebrating perseverance, focus, and a love of learning. It was a joyful event that showcased the heart and hard work of their school community. At the Prescott School, many classes participated in Book Buddies, where younger grade levels pair up with upper grade levels on literacy-related projects. Last week, Miss Hashey's 3rd grade class and Miss Webb's 1st grade class got together for Book Buddies. They collaborated to create a writing project about Groundhog's Day. They wrote persuasive paragraphs on why they wanted an early spring or 6 more weeks of winter. Let's hope they chose an early spring. Rainforest Reptiles brought some friends to visit the Callahan. Miss Tessa brought many reptiles, big and small, including a tortoise, snake, lizard, and an alligator to show students how these reptiles live. Students were excited to learn about these reptiles' habitats and how to care for them. Every student had a chance to pet the alligator. There is so much snow outside that it has been hard to play, but Willett kindergarten students and Miss McKenzie, Miss Murphy, and Miss Gomez's class had so much fun learning the science of snow. The kids and students brought the snow inside and compared melting, and used describing language to discuss and write about the experience. The Little Mustang preschoolers went for the gold this week during their very own Olympic Games. The mini athletes began by learning about what the Olympic torch symbolizes: peace, friendship, and the spirit of coming together. The games couldn't begin until the torch was lit, so the children got crafty, creating their own glowing masterpieces from recycled materials. With torches held high, they proudly paraded upstairs to the gym, which had transformed into a mini Olympic village. Events included ice skating, team bobsled races, curling, and hockey, all preschool style, of course. A New World exclusive event also took place at the Games, Olympic ring hopping. The children practiced balance, motor planning, and coordination by jumping through the rings in a variety of ways. Throughout the week, the Little Mustangs learned that the Olympic rings represent all the countries of the world, reminding us that we're all part of one big team. After the closing ceremonies, every Olympian headed home with a shiny gold medal that they had made themselves, and a heart full of friendship, teamwork, and good sportsmanship. It was truly a winner of a week, and these young champions definitely earned their place on the preschool podium. That wraps up this week's school news. Thank you to all of the teachers who keep us in the loop with their updates. It really helps us see the wonderful things happening in our schools. Reporting for Norwood School News, I'm Bridget Kidd. And now, here's Ron Marshalsea with the latest in sports.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your sports update. The girls' basketball team is now 16-3 and are number 8 in the MIAA Power Rankings as of February 10th. The Mustangs took down Holliston 61-28, lost to St. Mary's, and took down the Hillers in Hopkinton 60-41. With the win over Hopkinton, the Mustangs are officially TVL Large champs, and in that win, Izzy Morgan and Mo Larkey got the game ball, scoring 9 and 10 points respectively, combined with excellent rebounding and defense. Ari Blake and Lily Cordani also added 10 points each. The Mustangs have one final game on the docket in the regular season, Monday, February 16th at 5:30. The boys basketball team had their 7-game win streak snapped after losing to Holliston, but beat Dedham in overtime last Friday night, 51-47. The Mustangs also hosted Hopkinton on Thursday on their as well as the cheerleading team's senior nights. The Mustangs couldn't grab the win over the Hillers. Every member of the Mustangs finished the game with points on the board, and the underclassmen had a great showing in the fourth quarter. The boys finished the regular season with an even 10-10 record, and as of February 10th, they sit at number 35 in the D2 Power Rankings. The girls hockey team is number 25 in the D2 rankings as of the 10th with their 3-14-1 record, beating Ashland 4-2 but losing to Medfield this week. The Mustangs got the win on their senior night and look to keep some momentum heading into their last 2 regular season games, Friday at Hopkinton at 5 and Wednesday the 18th at Needham at 5:45. The boys hockey team lost to Hopkinton last Saturday but took down Bedford in a big win 7-0. Jason Gillis, Rocco Ferrioli, Anthony Parisi, Mark Trahan, Dan Reen, and Kevin Hulkgren netted the goals for the Mustangs. Gillis scored 2, Hulkgren scored his first varsity goal, and Brody Pacheco got the shutout in net. Norwood hosts Dedham on Friday at 4:30 and heads to Bishop Fenwick next Tuesday at noon. The swim and dive team was at sectionals last week where the team finished 13th overall. Samantha Leaf got first in the 50 free and second in the 100 free. The medley relay with Lee and Sydney Cochran, as well as Medfield swimmers Jordan Iovino and Ryan Jablonski finished 9th, and Iovino got 5th in the 200 free and 6th in the 100 fly. On the boys' side of sectionals, the team finished 6th overall with just 4 swimmers. The medley relay of Medfield's Chase Padden, Cullen O'Connor, Jonathan Underwood, and Norwood's Caleb Kwan placed 4th. Kwan placed 12th in the 200 IM and 21st in the 100 fly. Padden got 4th in the 100 free and 4th in the 100 back. Underwood placed 6th in the 50 free and 4th in the 100 breast. And the 200 freestyle relay of Kwan, O'Connor, Padden, and Underwood placed 3rd. The gymnastics team was at the TVL meet last week for their final meet of the year, where Jenna Spooner received Genie of the Meet for her improvement and consistency this season, as well as getting back into the lineup after a foot injury earlier this year. The track team had a mile runner-up at the D3 Divisional State Championship. Bridget Flynn placed 2nd in the mile with a time of 5 minutes and 16.3 seconds, which is the best finish in the girls' mile in school history. And that is all I have for the sports update. I'm Ron Marshalsea, and Norwood News will be right back after this break.
Public access television programs are produced by Norwood residents. With no professional experience required, Norwood Community Media provides access to a professional studio and equipment so community members can create their own shows. One of the many public access programs shot locally, produced locally, and aired locally is local artist Bill Breen. Bill has produced more than 30 episodes showcasing his passion for art and drawing. Have an idea, a passion, or a story? Reach out to NCM to learn how you can start.
The Middle School Building Committee spent most of its meeting discussing the status of ongoing issues at Coakley Middle School. The owner's project manager addressed the issues and explained how they have been addressed or will be addressed. Later in the meeting, the committee discussed the project budget and preliminary final cost projections, where the committee voted to approve additional FF&E purchases to not exceed $14,530. Following that, the committee approved 2 change orders and moved to deny change order number 31 to repair gym floors beyond the manufacturer's recommendations. The Trails Advisory Committee met this week at Memorial Hall to discuss several upcoming initiatives and ongoing projects. Members began planning an April 2026 library presentation and scheduling the next community walk. Snowshoeing during February break was also suggested as a potential winter activity for residents. Subcommittee reports provided updates on trail marking and wayfinding efforts, including progress related to the Mass Trails grant and kiosk content development. The committee also reviewed the current status of the Tyatt Trail, including Conservation Commission permitting, trail maintenance efforts, and upcoming volunteer work parties. The Trails Advisory Committee will hold its next meeting on March 10th at 7 p.m. The Board of Selectmen met Tuesday evening with each town department head in attendance for FY 2027 budget request department summary presentation delivered by Town Manager Tony Mizuko. The entire presentation and meeting are available on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. After the room cleared following the presentation, the board accepted Fran Kenny's resignation from the Council on Aging and received a letter of interest to fill the position from Diane Mastrandrea. Matt Snow from Hometown Arcade requested a common vitular license, and the board approved it following a discussion.
A motion to approve the CB license as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Ask the mover if he would expand that motion to include, help me, Mr. Mizuko, language that we should attach to all of our license approvals, not just this one, but it's a good time to start.
Contingent on any and all other regulatory approvals required by the town, building, health, etc. So that way, we always try to make it clear to the applicant by putting it in the motion that the board approving a common vic license, you still, any other required regulatory permitting you have to have approved before the license is effective. So that means that health is okay with it, building is okay with it, any other department that happens to have an issue with it.
So I will, I'll make that motion contingent on all other requirements as per town regulations.
One other potential amendment, Mr. Donald, if I may.
Yes.
There's been quite an issue at this location, and particularly about handling and so forth of food or working for an alcohol license, that the, this is a bunch of paper that is between the building inspector and the applicant. And to avoid any misunderstanding, because we did not include it in the license or in the motion, can we specify that the occupancy load for the facility with a A2 use, which is food service, is restricted to 80. That's the number determined by the building inspector. The developer, the property owner and his architect wanted to argue much higher numbers, and the building inspector has told him point blank, no, it's 80.
I feel like when they've applied for one-day permits and things like that in the past, though, they've listed a higher number than that? Is that accurate?
Much higher.
Sometimes 100, I think.
So are they aware of this? Because
it's tough to say. Sometimes this is what an applicant will do is, here's our physical building capacity. Well, here's the seating that we want. Here's what we're putting on this license. So that's why that catch-all language will allow us to make sure that there's a consistent number, and that's the accurate number.
Which you're saying is 80.
This is the last email to the applicant from the building inspector.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He did note.
So they've been notified by.
That's what I'm asking. I'm just recalling the previous.
The board approves a common vic license for a number of seats, but you don't get to dictate the number of seats if the code dictates something else.
Sure, yeah.
So even if you were to give a license for 900 seats, but somebody is only allowed to physically fit 80 seats in there or whatever the number is, that becomes the number. As I said, the common vic license is it's 150 years old, so it exists prior to other regulatory frameworks.
If they submit for a one-day license for our next meeting, it should say 80?
Not necessarily. So that's a physical seating count. The common vic license is triggered when you have more than 5 seats at a table.
Right.
A one-day liquor event, they might be able to have an open area with more people.
The board then made it to the manager's update, which included letting people know that they would be seeking money at the town meeting for the repairs for the elevator in Town Hall, which will now be costing north of $100,000, as well as replacing the main steam pipe that runs under Town Hall. The board expressed their pleasure to have Bill Plasko back in the room, and Selectman Plasko had this to say during his addenda.
One other statement I'd like to make, if I may. Last month I requested the Chairman Grow read a statement that I would be offering my resignation from the Board of Selectmen effective April 3rd, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. I did this because I was ill and not able to be here myself, and felt the message of my resignation, the fact that the remaining year of my term would be filled at the town's April annual election, and that it was required that they make the announcement as early as possible. In fact, I apologize for not making the decision and announcement even earlier. However, anyone who knows me knows that I do take my commitment to I do not take my commitment to this town lightly. And after having dedicated over 50 years to being actively involved in our local government, 29 of them as selectmen, it was an extremely difficult personal decision to make. After my family, this community has been the center of my life. At this time, however, I must focus my energy, my health, and prioritize my health and the time I spend with my family, the people who have stood by me throughout every late night meeting and challenge we face as a town. I wish to thank my colleagues on the board, present and past, served with 30% of those in the town's history, the town's dedicated staff, and so many other volunteers who contribute to this town. It's been a privilege of a lifetime to serve alongside you. I'm incredibly proud of the work we have done together to keep Norwood a strong, stable, and wonderful place to call home. All that said, reports of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. While I no longer can maintain the energy level and time commitment I have in the past required of myself to do the job of selectman, I do hope to find another position to continue to be involved in our town, perhaps special study committees or single-focused committees that'll be easier to concentrate on rather than the constant barrage of the varying matters that selectmen must deal with. And thank you all for your time and effort.
The Board of Selectmen meet again on February 24th. The Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing Tuesday night for 141 East Cross Street. The property sits between 5th and 6th Streets. The applicant was seeking a special permit to maintain a personal kennel for dogs. The applicant has 5 dogs, whereas Norwood residents are allowed 3 by right. Several neighbors of the property spoke against the special permit request, citing the disturbances caused by the animals. The zoning board expressed its concerns and ultimately denied the request for a special permit.
I think that if she had come back, if she could show us a new plan or some help that comes inside to help when you're not there, I would look at it a little differently. But I feel like I just cannot approve something like this the way it is. I feel like under a special permit, this is a detriment to the neighborhood. And detriment from every single person basically said the same thing. So they all have to be kind of on the same page. If I could see if I was convinced that the applicant could show me that she could turn this around, I would support it. But right now, I can't.
And then Alex, can you walk us through what other contingencies would be in place if it was a personal kennel? Like, are there check-ins with the end? Like, how does that work if you are registered as a personal kennel, just so the board is aware of that too?
Yeah, so there's a once annual inspection for all kennels in the town that's conducted by the animal control officer.
Mm-hmm.
Would the Board of Health be involved with the odor? I mean, if you live next door and you were having a summer barbecue and no one cleaned up next door, how could you enforce? Who would you call if there's no regular enforcement?
Yeah, I think that you could call the Board of Health, but I'm not sure exactly how that process would work.
Mm-hmm.
I concur with what was said. We have 2 dogs. I love dogs. To control them is, a car goes by, a person walks by, they go crazy, and they're a handful. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. And I think the space is too small for 5 dogs in a neighborhood like that. There's no full-time, somebody watching over them full-time. It's hit or miss. So my concerns overwhelm my love for the dogs, quite frankly. In fact, it's partially as a love for the dogs.
Mr. Isidoro?
I would just agree with what the other board members are saying. The neighbors have all expressed the same concerns. They're all consistent. We've gotten emails, letters, people coming in public here. So it does seem like it's a significant problem, and by granting a special permit, we might just be making that problem worse. I don't think there's much I need to. I was just basically saying that hearing from all the people, it's the same complaints, and I think by granting a special permit, we might be just making this situation worse for the neighbors.
Yeah, I think that the land use compatibility criterion, which is something that we have to evaluate for every special permit, that really talks about is that particular use suited to the area, and does it damage the utility and enjoyment of nearby land uses through offsite impacts as an adverse effect. Seems like it could apply in this particular situation. It had sounded like the applicant was aware of numerous things that could be done, but it doesn't sound like any of those things that had happened to date. So I think our options here this evening would be to present an approval if that was our decision, contingent on some of the things that we heard, both in terms of physical changes and or limitations to numbers on the property. And we also have the option, based on the amount of public feedback we've received tonight, to also deny the special permit.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Does anybody have a motion that they would like to put forward related to the special permit application?
Well, I would make a motion to deny the special permit.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have it, a motion by Mr. Easy, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. We'll go to a vote. Mr. Easy?
Yes, I deny.
Sorry, a yes will be to deny. That was a yes from Mr. Easy. Mr. Diazadoro?
Yes.
And then Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
The chair is also a yes. So this evening, the application for the special permit for the personal kennel is denied.
The Zoning Board of Appeals will meet again on March 3rd. The Budget Balancing Committee met this week and reviewed the governor's budget, including Chapter 70. Jeff O'Neill and Tony Mazzucco discussed the predicted 10.9% increase in health insurance and how it will impact the budget.
Health insurance, as many of you are aware, GSC came out with their initial projection of a 10.9% increase, so well above what we were expecting. They are, as I mentioned last time, they are working on a number of changes to their formulas, changes to copays, changes to deductibles. So they are voting tomorrow. The increase is expected to be anywhere from 6% to 13% actual, depending on what they vote on. And as Tony mentioned, even if they come out with 6% tomorrow, we have to look at our plans and our subscribers to see what that actual impact is to us. So, there's going to be a big delta. Hopefully there'll be a big delta and that number will come down. But it's just kind of a wait and see right now.
To your point, we're in a good position. Last year we used $7.5 million. We might be around there. Obviously, if health insurance is really bad, then that could be $8.5 or $9 million. If that number comes in good, it could be we're using $6.7 million free cash. And conceptually, not only are we better than where we projected by a significant amount, we're technically better than we were last year. That's a good place to be in. It's just that health insurance number is a little, it's always scary. And if I could take a moment to point out, because the question always comes up, why we can't live under the guidelines of Prop 2.5. Health insurance is the best example, and I think in discussing with town meeting this year, we need to make sure that that's clear. The 10% increase on health insurance is what is killing our budget. That's what's destroying our ability to live under Prop 2.5. That budget is larger than the police and fire budgets. I think it's probably larger than like the budget for the high school. So when you take a minute and think about that, we spend more on health insurance than we do on a high school, even if you included the debt service for the high school. So it's such an insane number that makes such a huge impact on the budget. That 1% swing is critical, and we have very little control over it. We have a larger discussion we did with the board last night about health insurance and where we are, but it's so significant that the rest of the budget pales in comparison. Could you imagine a 10% increase in other lines would create all sorts of an issue. And then here's health insurance, we get nothing more for that 10% increase. It's just, it's a killer.
Later in the meeting, the committee came to a decision to wait until the actual GIC insurance number is confirmed before voting on the use of free cash to balance the FY27 budget. The committee scheduled another remote meeting next Wednesday, the 18th, to discuss further. Valentine's Day is this weekend, and Kiki Thaxter has some chocolatey recommendations on this segment of Sweet Treats with Keeks.
Did you miss me? I'm back with another episode of Sweet Treats with Keeks. I'm down at Furlongs today, and we all know that February 14th is right around the corner, so I'm gonna go pick out some chocolates. Come with me. We'll do one of the smaller ones of, what was the first one? The pecan turtles. Milk, please. And then I'm gonna do some of the caramash. That sounds good. Yes, please. We'll do 2 of those. And then we're gonna do, where was that other? Yes, the smidgens. Why don't we add another turtle? Same? Yes. I've been in my pecan era, I feel like. And, oh, we still got room in there? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, let's see. What else should we add here? Okay, we'll try one of those. Milk chocolate, please. And then I'll do a cashew one, too. Milk. Well, caramel? Yeah, what about caramel? Yeah, caramel's... we'll do no salt, please. Yeah. I think that'll do it.
Valentine's Day wrapping?
Yes.
That comes to $13.80. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You want a bag?
No, that's good.
All right. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
I just got my little care package here. It's so cute. The Furlong staff is unbelievable. They're very helpful and they'll get you what you need. So we're gonna open this up. I don't even want to. It's like a little Christmas present. I got a few different options, but the main thing that stays the same is milk. It's milk chocolate, everything milk. I'm not a fan of the dark. So first up, we have the pecan cluster. Lately, I've been kind of really liking pecans. Chocolate and caramel. This is up close, if you want to take a look at that. It's quite a little contraption here. All right, let's take a bite. At first, it's like you get the pecan, but you got to chew everything to get everything going here. Oh, that's good. Once you get biting and you chew everything together, you get the salty, the caramel, and the chocolate mix. It's actually really, really good. I enjoy that. I'm not going to finish it, obviously, right now. Now we're going to move on to this cute little guy. I believe this is caramel inside. We'll test it right now. My beloved. Caramel and chocolate, it's just the perfect combination, I think, honestly. Oh, that's delightful. Next up, we got this little guy. It's like 35 degrees outside and the wind's blowing, but this one is, I believe, either a cashew or pecan just covered in milk chocolate. Can't go wrong. Pecan. Oh, that's delicious. Melts in your mouth. The chocolate just melts. I love that one. I believe this here is marshmallow and caramel inside milk chocolate. I adore marshmallow with chocolate. I think it's the best combination. So let's take a look at this. Oh my God. Nope, that's caramel. Okay, so this, sorry about that, this is the marshmallow and caramel mix. Oh my God, the consistency of that. Oh my God, you just bite it, it tastes like a cloud. I love that. That's the inside, so it's very, you know, you get the marshmallow and then a thin layer of caramel up on the top. I think this is definitely gonna be my favorite. This one was called the what was it, Megan?
Caramello.
Caramello. This would probably be my favorite out of them all, and then the pecans were delightful as well. But come on down. So the wind was a bit crazy there, had to switch camera angles, but all these were delightful. Probably the marshmallow caramel mix was my favorite, and the pecan comes in second. But come on down to Furlongs and get all the candy you need for your special somebody. We'll see you next time on Sweet Treats with Keats.
Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Norwood News. For the latest updates and stories, be sure to follow Norwood Community Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, and from all of us here at NCM, have a great weekend.